Before we begin, this is the same Hoyo that has such an attention to detail that after Yun Li crushes Sushang, we see Bailu revived her in the end. I want you to keep this in mind. There are a lot of unanswered questions in this game we play. Mysteries and unfinished stories that we may or may not visit later. As you guys know, I am the type of guy who likes to pry open the lore of just about every single character and make connections. But as I've read and learned more about the way characters' abilities and systems work, there are some playable characters that just don't make sense. I've looked into their lore, and the math just ain't mathin'. Some of which are just so complicated that they require their own story arc, and some I believe to have outright lied to us. And since there is a whole path and aeon dedicated to the spread of misinformation, I feel like this is highly plausible. So I've created a list of what I believe to be the top 5 most mysterious characters in Honkai Star Rail. So to deviate from my normal pattern of starting with my number 1, I will be starting with my 5th most mysterious character. You know her, you may love her or hate her, but like it or not, you were manipulated by her, none other than the IPC cornerstone and senior member of the Strategic Investment Department, Topaz. Oh yeah, it's been too long since I've slandered the IPC, so let's get into this. As we know, none of the 10 Stoneheart's names are actually gems, they are just referred to as such. Topaz's name is Yelena, something that our Trailblazer doesn't actually know since we've only heard it from Jade in a cutscene. But we'll go into this cutscene later because what's so mysterious about Topaz is that we have no idea where she came from. And not the, oh, we don't know where March came from either. No. Topaz tells us where she came from, but it's a blatant lie. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. In summary, Topaz writes to Bronya that she was from a resource-poor planet that was so broken that it could hardly sustain life anymore. People were forced to wear respirator masks just to go outside and cower under the assault of acid rain. But the great and powerful IPC came and saved her planet. So she joined the IPC at the youngest possible age so that she could spread this salvation to other planets. But there's a major gap in this story that you wouldn't see unless you've read her story instead of playing it. Because the two have their differences. Because in the story that we play, Topaz states,
"My home planet was extremely resource poor. To survive, people worked laboriously, manufacturing products for other civilizations in the galaxy, mostly in chemical or heavy industries."
And we know that she was among this majority since she says that those who had wealth simply left the planet for a better life. But here's where the contradiction arises. In her written story, it says that when she joined the IPC, she already possessed a resume that was considered stunning. And we know how particular the IPC is about credentials, because poor Carmela is never getting promoted. But if Yelena was from this dirt-poor planet with nothing but a background of hard labor, how did she get this stunning resume before she even joined when she joined at the youngest possible age? Well, she didn't. She lied. But this wouldn't be the first time she lied to us, no. Because in truth, the IPC had no interest in Jarilo-VI whatsoever. I mean, come on. A 90% frozen planet with a population so left behind they can't even go to space on their own. What could the IPC hope to gain from taking it over? It would be a net loss even if they did manage to save it. But I'll tell you what they hope to gain. Because there was something very important on Jarilo-VI, the Astral Express crew. Yes, the entire goal of this fiasco was to earn our trust. So they put on this entire farce just to fool us into believing they had mercy on Belobog, and the proof is right in front of us. Because Jade says,
"You handled that project quite well. A little ball of ice in exchange for the Astral Express's good favor."
She didn't even bother saying its name. She demeans the entire nation, calling it a little ball of ice. This alone shows how the IPC views Jarilo-VI, and also that the entire story was a setup aimed at manipulation and gaslighting. Heck, Topaz getting demoted 1 rank? Come on. Aventurine says himself over the phone that she must have had someone looking out for her. And she did. It was Jade, looking after her little protege after she attained what Jade was after. Then lo and behold, the IPC uses this newfound favor to dupe us into allowing them in on the Penacony deal. It was a long con plan, and they won. And we didn't even get Topaz's real name or past in return. What a shame. We got played. Coming in at 4th place is a shorter entry, but nonetheless mysterious. But at least we've got his real name. Sampo Koski. This guy, he's a strange one. He kind of shows up, advances the plot, and leaves. Everyone kind of hates him too, even though he really doesn't do anything besides apparently petty theft and tax fraud, but come on, that's no big deal, right? The real spicy stuff is the fact that he is an Elation follower who abandoned his mask, but is now reclaiming it for an unknown reason. Why? Possibly for this catastrophe coming to Jarilo-VI. Elation followers always do seem to tell the future after all. On a side note, apparently Sampo isn't too fond of Sparkle's brand of Elation. He also can world jump. Like, how did he get to Penacony from Jarilo-VI anyway? There is no way he's actually from Belobog because he's been known to disappear and reappear at random points. This dude has left the planet so many times. He's also been to Penacony before because this wasn't his first time there. He was way too familiar with Penacony for this to be his first time there. Come on. Next up in the 3rd place spot, we have an emanator of what she claims to be the most mysterious Aeon who is actively researching the Aeon that no one even knows the origin of. Genius Society number 83, Madame Herta. Because, you see, she has tasked herself with looking into the mysteries of the universe just like her Aeon. But she values questions more than answers. She sees her research as a die cast that she hopes never stops rolling. So what makes her so mysterious isn't her motive or who she is, she'll gladly tell you about that. It's how far she can go. It's no wonder that she's already had a run-in with Polka Kakamon for encroaching on the circle of knowledge, because in her quest for questions, she has attained a way of de-aging herself, so she can basically no longer die by old age, meaning that she is kinda immortal but not invulnerable, on top of having direct but limited access to Aeon powers. So her potential is quite unpredictable and limitless since her ego and ambition knows no bounds. Personally, I think she'll replace Noose one day. I made a video about it, you should watch it, it's great. But on to number 2. In the 2nd place spot on this podium of mysteries is Luocha. Now, this guy I'm sure has had us all scratching our heads in confusion ever since we first ran into him. He looks like an Auto/Void Archives twin. Luocha translates to demon, and it isn't even his real name, nor is he from the Shanzhou, and he carries around the remains of the Aeon of Propagation in a coffin that isn't even his. Everything about this guy is a mystery. His portrait may as well be a giant question mark, because even though he is our first limited 5-star abundance to release, we know absolutely nothing about him to this day or how he even met Jingliu of all people. Someone that our Trailblazer, to this day, has never even met. Yes, besides the non-canon ads, we have never met Jingliu. Let that sink in. Luocha is the protagonist of a different game apparently, but that's all I got on him. Short, I know, but he's a walking question mark, I'm sorry. So who could be the most mysterious of the mysterious? Who could be the one who poses the craziest questions in the entire game? None other than the characters whose existence threatens the balance of the entire game's lore. A character so powerful that she may have forced a retcon. The one, the only, the first ever 5-star limited character to release, Seele. Yes, the random orphan girl raised on a frozen planet who has no formal training, that has a glowing scythe that she uses to propel herself through the air on some ruby energy because it's also a gun, who has the ability to move at speeds that no one in the universe has been able to surpass. Seele is so fast that she makes bullets stand still after they are fired, and that is a canon feat because she does this twice. once with Bronya and once to save Bronya. She can also create after images, which is something only Acheron, the emanator of nihility, is able to do. But that's not all. She can also turn invisible for some reason, and it has never ever once been addressed that her eyes change color, even though it is very much emphasized. We know it's Veliona, but Veliona doesn't exist here. There's no mark on her chest. Stigmatas don't exist in Star Rail. Unless they do, which means Honkai energy exists. And that opens up a whole new plot point. Where do we even begin with that? That means Harsher are going to exist, and oh no, they won't do that. They won't do that. So judging by what is shown, she not only looks like Acheron, but is just as fast as Acheron, even after she's drawn her sword and expanded her domain. And that's just lowballing it, because everything is going slow-mo for Acheron and she's moving normally. But for Seele, she's still going so fast that we can barely see her. Just with this ludicrous speed that she has been confirmed on 2 occasions to have, she can take out just about anyone under an emanator in a fight. But that's not the craziest part, because this is where it gets weird, because she is canonically weaker than Gepard. Gepard is the strongest known fighter in Belobog, and I think it's because Seele was just so fast and strong that she forced them to retcon her abilities. This is why she doesn't even show up in the War Dance story, because if she showed up, Yanqing isn't beating her. There's no possible way. Hoyo to this day doesn't know what to do with her. This character is so mysterious and raised so many questions that they had to nerf her just to create an answer. They have to keep her out of story like Gojo. They have to seal her away because she's just too strong. She breaks the lore. She's so much stronger than everyone in Belobog if you look at her blatantly shown abilities that it's not even close. Rappa as a character is a genetically modified superhuman with perfectly tuned genes, but she is nowhere near as strong as Seele. What is she? What she is should not be possible in a place like Belobog. They have no access to the outside world. She doesn't have this like genetic modifications that make her stronger and allow her to morph her body, and no, she doesn't have that. She's just that fast. And no one on Belobog bats an eye. That's just Seele. That's just normal for them. She's just like that. I need answers. There is an Emanator level character in Belobog that spends her free time painting walls. I told you, they don't know what to do with this character. I wouldn't either. This character is so mysterious and has raised so many questions that they have to either nerf her or keep her out of story just to create an answer. And it doesn't get any more mysterious than that. Seele breaks Star Rail. And that is the top 5 most mysterious characters in Honkai Star Rail. In the end, this is all just my opinion. I'm sure with Amphorius we are going to have even more questions raised, but hopefully we'll get some answers too. Because unlike Herta, I do like a healthy balance of answers for my ever-increasing number of questions. But what do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace, y'all.